Howdy, I'm Flexen.
This is Joe Leigh.
And we're delighted you can all join us for our first Keys to Victory special, centred, of course, on the best fight of 2020, Vasyl Lomachenko against Teofimo Lopez, which is this Saturday. It's come around all too soon, but we can't wait for it. And it's going to be live on ESPN and ESPN Plus now in the US on both platforms, and here in the UK on Fight TV. And if you'll see one of our other videos with Bob Arum previewing the big fight, you'll find out how you can win a chance to watch the big fight in the UK for free. But getting on from all that, we're going to talk about the keys to victory. We're going to do it draft style, so we're going to take turns in picking out some key factors that will decide the winner of the fight.
Yeah. Being as that it is, like you said, the biggest fight of 2020, I'm still surprised that it's free over in the US. But you know, paying £10 here, I'm not too bothered. I think it's a fight we've been waiting for a long time now, and I just can't wait to talk about it. I've been watching the videos that Top Rank have been putting out. An extremely exciting fight, and for me, it's all about whether Lopez is at a high enough level to challenge Lomachenko, and I can't wait to talk about it, honestly, man.
Wait till you watch the Bob Arum preview on SecondsOut, which has gone live about 4 minutes ago as we film this right now. So hopefully everyone's already enjoying that. But yeah, keys to victory. Who's going to get to go first? We won't do our usual trivia question, but I'm happy for you to go first if you want to. Age
Yeah.
before beauty.
Let's do it. I think for me, it's not about we're gonna pick both fighters how they can win, so it doesn't matter. I mean, if you were to pick Lopez
Lopez will definitely win.
first point for Loma, so I'm gonna go with Loma anyway. Not for any specific reason, but for me, I just think in order for him to win, he just needs to be aggressively orientated, similar to how he usually is. And when I say that, I mean, you know, obviously he has the way he switches angles very quickly, but when you look at the greats like Mayweather, he'd wait for someone to try and hit him before he hits. So he'd move, make a miss, then make them pay. Whereas with Lomachenko, he's making them pay first of all. He's switching, blocking the vision, then moving again, hitting again. So I think from the offset, from the offset, is something that he's going to need to carry on throughout the fight, but certainly from round one. Because I don't want to talk about Lopez too much, but if he doesn't start sharp, then I think there could be some trouble in paradise, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you say about Loma is very true in the fact that he encourages his opponent to throw. He feints, he moves his feet, and he does everything he does is geared around getting his opponent to commit and then countering sharply, which is one of the best aspects of his game. And it kind of leads into one of the things I think is a key to victory for Lopez, and that's that he retains his self-belief throughout the fight. Because I think there are going to be times in that fight, and these could be long periods, I'm not talking spurts here, where he's, I wouldn't say under the cosh, I don't think he'll necessarily be getting beaten up, but I think there'll be times when he feels the fight slipping away from him. And Loma's there, he throws a lot of shots, and even if they're not all landing, even if you're taking him on the gloves, and on the, you know, on your guard, you still feel that you're under pressure constantly, especially with Loma's feet, you know, not just with his hands. So you're going to be under the cosh. He's going to make you miss as well, which is incredibly dispiriting for an aggressive fighter like Lopez, a showman, a charismatic guy. So he might be hitting thin air at times. That's not going to be great for his morale. And both he and his dad in the corner, who we know can get very emotionally involved, they need to stay on message. Because the fact is that Lopez needs, if he can land a big shot, he is the biggest, strongest, most powerful guy that Loma's fought in the pros. If he can land a big shot cleanly on Loma's chin, it's going to have a big impact. But that shot, it might take him 8, 10, even 11, 12 rounds to land that pivotal shot. And he needs to keep that in mind and not get gung-ho, not get overly aggressive, and not deviate from the game plan because of that.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, we've seen before Lomachenko is hittable. Luke Campbell, in the Luke Campbell fight, I think it was round 7, he hit Lomachenko and he recovered very quickly, Lomachenko did. But you've seen it against Linares, he was down momentarily. And he's shown in his fights he can be hit. But like you say, Lopez is a heavy hitter, heavier than anyone Lomachenko's faced before. So I think that's something he's got to do, stay disciplined. Because if he can stay disciplined and strong throughout, then not he won't have a puncher's chance because he's got more than a puncher's chance. But if he can stay disciplined and wait for that moment, then the effect's going to be even heavier on Lomachenko.
I agree. I agree.
Um,
Yeah, so it's your next one.
yeah, my second one's also going to be for Lopez, and it's sort of about how Lomachenko starts the fight. We all know this. In most of the fights, the first round, maybe two, he'll be testing the range, testing the distance, move around a lot, barely even throw one shot. And I think this is where Lopez could use his strength and his power to come out extremely fast. Now, it might not be the cleverest tactic because if he comes out fast and as we know, Lomachenko can still take a hit and it doesn't affect him, then Lopez may tire out way too early. However, if he comes out fast and Loma's still loading as he does, that's his tactic and barely throws in that first round. Maybe he can catch him there while the power's still early, and take that. It's extremely difficult to do, but take it to him in the first 2-3 rounds. We saw it against Richard Comey in his last fight. He's got that power early on. He's got that power throughout the fight. But if he comes out fast, nice and early, you never know what could happen.
All right, so I'm going to go with one for Loma, and it's kind of stating the obvious. I'm almost frowning upon myself for doing it as I say it, but go to the body. For so many reasons. One, you're very good at it. I'm saying you like you're Lomachenko, but you get the point. The resemblance is uncanny. But yeah, go to the body. You're very accurate. You've got the faster hands. You're nippy. You can move around at angles with your feet, which sets you up perfectly for those body shots that it'll make it difficult for Lopez to guard against with his elbows tucked in. You've dropped people, stopped people with body shots in the past. But from the flip side of that as well, Lopez is a big guy. He's going to, if anyone struggled to make the weight for this, it's going to be him. He's talked about moving up to 140 after the fight, regardless of the result, although he's supremely confident he's going to win. And he's gonna be aggressive. He's gonna presumably, and we've said this makes sense for him, start fast. So take a bit of wind out of his sails. If he has struggled with the weight, that's where he's going to be more likely to be hurt rather than the headshots from the smaller, less hard-hitting guy.
Yeah.
You can be more effective with less effort and maybe less shots landed by targeting the midsection, in my view.
That's a really good shout. I think it's disappointing in terms of the fight because afterwards it doesn't look like Loma's going to stay and it doesn't look like Lopez is going to stay. It opens the division nicely, and the division's still stacked. But I would like to see them, at least one of them, remain at lightweight for another few fights. But it is what it is. I'll go on to my third point now, which is going to be for Lopez again, and I think he's going to have to work out Loma's next move because in Loma's matrix style, they call it, he's always working out the opponent's next move. Whereas if you're Lopez, you're going to sort of have to do the same in order for him not to do that to you. So I'm not saying he has to be 3 steps ahead of him in order for Lopez to implant his game plan. But if he can work out what Loma's doing next, for example, he gets Loma up nice and close. Loma has to either push away and step backwards, or he has to start punching him with flurries. Therefore, Lopez has more of an idea how he's going to work the body, how he's going to work the head, and he's sort of figuring out the next move at all times. There's multiple explanations of how he can do this, but I feel like if Lopez is 1 step ahead of Loma, so that Loma can't be his usual self, Lopez will have more of an opportunity to win in flurries and implement his game plan a little bit more. It's difficult.
Okay, so my final one, it kind of applies to both guys. It's not really it's a key to victory, but it's one they share, and that's their head trainers who also happen to be their fathers. A subplot which has been talked about quite a lot in the build-up, and it's very interesting because I think
their dads are both in the poster, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think they've both got different challenges, and I think for Lopez Senior, the challenge is obvious. He has to stay calm. He has to try not to be emotionally involved, and for him, that's a particularly difficult task. Not just because it's his son in there; it's his son in there every fight. But this is the biggest fight of his son's career, and Lomachenko Senior, not Lomachenko Senior, Lopez Senior, has talked so much in the build-up about how his son will destroy Lomachenko and how Lomachenko's not as good as everyone makes out, and all the things he said, his son's now got to cash those checks.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he can't do it. I think he's a very worthy opponent, and there's every chance he could pull off the victory. But Lopez Senior can't let everything he said in the past and his own emotional involvement dictate how they approach the fight from the corner, because there's going to come a point in the fight where, well, there's not necessarily, but there could come a point in the fight where it might be wise to pull his son out. And he's got to be willing to do that regardless of what's gone on in the build-up. But also, he can't do anything impetuous or impulsive, to win the fight and not have thought it through. And I think that's a big concern. I mean, luckily, Lopez is a thinking fighter anyway, but he's still only, 23 years old?
As I said, after, forgive me, and he's saying it more as a marketing perspective than sort of to put pressure on his son. So there's the many ways you could look at it, but it's been completely different with the Loma camp. I mean, when I did the press conference call, he was asked about whether it's real, beef, real tension. He doesn't feel it at all, Lomachenko. So it's certainly different between the two camps and the two fathers and how they sort of train their sons. But I think you've got a point on your hand there. If it is, like you say, if there is a lot of pressure on Lopez's shoulder now, then obviously that's not a good thing. And if he has to pull him out of the fight at the right time, then let's hope he makes the right decision.
Yeah, and I think for Anatoly Lomachenko, it's a different challenge in that he's never been really drawn in to this kind of, the publicity side of things before. He's very much been the quiet man in the corner throughout his son's amateur and professional careers. And now some of the focus is on him for once. And it's interesting to see how he deals with that. I imagine it'll be in his typical calm, collected manner, but you never know, do you? I mean, the glare of the spotlight's on him for once. Will he deal with it well? From the outside, you say, yeah. I mean, he's definitely going to deal with it a lot better than Lopez Senior, but you just don't know. We've never seen Lomachenko under serious pressure. He's been dropped, he's lost the fight as a pro. But even then, there was never a point in the loss to Salido where you thought he's taking a serious beating here. There was never a point against Linares where you thought he's about to get stopped, even though he was dropped. So what's going to happen when he comes under serious pressure? Not just in his mind and his reaction, but his father's.
But to play devil's advocate, I guess it's, first of all, it's behind closed doors. So the pressure on him as a coach, he's not going to get people in the crowd, staring down at every move, listening to him in the corner. But, I don't think as a coach, you ever get, of course you're going to get more press than usual, being as that, like I said, they're on the poster and things like that. But is it really going to be much different for him? He's training his son in every fight anyway, so there's not much that's actually changed for him. If he loses, he lost against Salido, if he lost against Campbell, if he lost against Crawler, if he lost against whoever he's faced, there's always going to be pressure on him. So I don't think, there's more so in this fight than there would be against, if he lost against Linares or any Pedrosa, whoever he fought,
Great stuff. Well, that's our keys to victory. It'd be great to hear from you guys out there what you feel are the keys to victory, particularly ones that we've missed, of course. We've only done 3 each, and you might disagree with some of ours as well, and feel free to comment on that also. But let us know what you think are the keys to victory for each fighter, and obviously tune into the fight as well on Fight TV in the UK. Look at our Bob Arum preview for a chance to win that for free, and the guys in the US, you've already got it for free, so
It's about time. I think they pay about $70 for pay-per-views. They certainly do for most of them. So it's about time they get one for free. And we've got
We've got ESPN in the US as well. I don't know much about it, but it's a cable channel, obviously. But I think it's basic cable, isn't it? So most people have got it.
I don't know. I'm not the right man to speak to, but they pay a lot of money for some pay-per-views. So I think it's time to let them off for a big fight.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate it, guys, and maybe we'll do one of these again for the next big fight, which is probably Usyk Chisora, I guess. Maybe we'll do a keys to victory for that.
Definitely, man. Enjoyed this one, and it's been good to be back on the Skype, unfortunately, but it's been good to be back doing one of these shows. So
great stuff.
Soon.
Cheers.